Hello everyone, welcome back to another election video. This time we're taking a look at what's going on in 2026 redistricting. So a lot of states have redistricting updates and we're going to take a look at what the impacts of them are. First, we're going to cover the states that are already going to redistrict, a very high probability that they will. Starting off with the ones that have already redistricted, we have Missouri, which nets the Republicans 1 seat. We have North Carolina, which nets Republican another seat, and we have Texas, which nets them 5 seats. In California, Prop 50, this is going to be what the map would look like. The Democrats would net 5 seats here, so that means they fully counter Texas's redistricting. In Utah, there's a map going around so far, and it looks likely this map will get approved by the court. The map basically creates an R+6 district over here, and it creates an R+2 district right here. So this R+2 district is likely to flip for the Democrats because Ben McAdams is going to be running in the more competitive district, and McAdams, he outran Joe Biden in 2020 by a decent amount. I think it was by around 7-ish points. So this would be also a Democratic flip in this district. So Democrats net a seat from Utah, basically. Going over to Ohio, there's a new map that's about to be approved in Ohio, and I'm pretty sure it's just been approved as I'm making this video, that Republicans will be netting 1 seat out of this state, which is Marcy Kaptur's seat up here. They preserve Amelia Sykes' seat, which is now D+3, so that's a Democratic hold in Landsman. They make it a narrowly Republican seat, but considering Landsman outran Harris by a good amount, this is still a seat that he's going to win re-election in, so I'm not counting as a Republican flip, because it's pretty likely the Democrat's going to carry the seat anyway. In Virginia, they are going to try to pass a proposition in Virginia that California recently passed that would allow Virginia state legislatures to redraw the map. Now, so far, the redraw of the map's either going to be 2 or 3 seats. They're definitely going to go for 3, in my opinion, and they might even go for 4 if other red states follow suit in redrawing their maps. They could go that brutal on Republicans. So right now, these are the districts that are likely to be redrawn. This one, and this one. They could even go for this one as well if they draw it really strategically. But right now, I think they're just going to play it safe. They're going to go for 3 districts, and they're going to wait on other Republican states to redraw. So now we're going to go to states. Well, actually, Illinois is also pretty likely to redraw because their entire 14-seat congressional delegation have said they approve redistricting. So this means they'll be able to draw out another district in northern Illinois. So that would give Democrats a net of 10 seats flipped with your districting, while the Republicans only net 8 seats. Indiana is another state that's considering redistricting, but in the Indiana State Senate, the vote is very close, so it might not be the case that they do redistrict. That's why I'm not putting it as certain as the other states on this map. So because I'm not as certain, I'm putting this as only lean red. So if they do redistrict, they're going to most likely go pretty extreme on the redistricting. They're going to draw out 2 Democratic seats if they do go on with redistricting. Kansas is also another likelihood, but they're pretty unlikely. They're much more unlikely than Indiana, so I would even put that as just a tilt Republican chance of happening. So lower likelihood that they actually do proceed on with their redistricting in Kansas because the margins, they just can't afford to lose that many votes in the redistricting, but it could happen. Another state that could happen is Maryland. Right now, the Maryland State Senate does not want to do redistricting. So, again, it's probably as low odds as Kansas is. Is there any other states that would do redistricting? Well, like I said, Virginia could also draw another Republican in the map, but that's also pretty unlikely. So right now, it looks like the Democrats are actually coming up narrowly ahead in redistricting. However, the Voting Rights Act, that could get struck down at this new Supreme Court case they're hearing, but the decision's only likely to occur in June, which wouldn't give a lot of time for the Republicans to redraw the maps in the southern states. But that could net them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then other 4 districts would come from Florida. So that would only net them 12 seats, and Democrats could respond in other ways. They could get more aggressive in the California gerrymander. They could decide to eliminate even more Republicans. So there's ways they could play it out to give them more seats in the event that the VRA is struck down. But so far, this is just what the map looks like in terms of 2026 redistricting. I would say that it's more likely the Democrats might even gain some more seats out of this just because of the surprise redistricting in Virginia. There's also the off chance that New York redistricts, and what we would see there is we would see the Democrats draw out the Staten Island district in New York. I think they would pack more of Suffolk County and the red parts of Long Island into these 2 districts over here. And that would result in making New York's 3rd and 4th a lot bluer. So they would turn those away from swing seats. Upstate, they could doom Lawler's chances. That's another potential pickup for Democrats. They could also make it so there's only 2 upstate Republican districts, so they could go after maybe Stefanik's district and just pack it in with more of Albany. So Democrats could net 3 seats out of New York if somehow they get the chance to redistrict in 2026. It's more likely they redistrict after 2026, and this is what their map would look like in that event. Also, New Hampshire, Trump really wants them to redistrict in New Hampshire, but again, the Republican Governor Kelly Oyette, she keeps shutting it down, so it's not going to happen. Extremely unlikely. Is there any other states that are likely to redistrict? I heard that Kentucky might consider drawing out their 1 Democratic seat in this district here, but that's all I've heard about it. They pretty much shut it down afterwards. I never heard anything else that happened. Florida could redistrict even without the VRA. They could draw out 2 Democratic seats if they really wanted to. They could draw out Jared Moskowitz's seat, and they could draw out I think they could just draw out 2 Miami-based districts, and they could get away with that. That's pretty much the most they could really do on this map. So, again, let me just see how this adds up. So it really depends on if Florida decides to redistrict and New York, and I don't think those 2 are very likely. Unless the VRA gets shut down, then we could see Florida and a lot of these southern states proceed on with redistricting. But that's currently the status of what's going on in 2026 redistricting. If you're new to this channel and you enjoy content like this, you should definitely subscribe. Other than that, I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.